Happy Infidelity to all our Muslim viewers. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Hello, Tukba in the building. How you doing, Tukba Makodige? What's going on?
I'm doing very good. Looking forward to the Limitless Women Conference tomorrow at Orientals. It's going to be a very interesting one. It's organized by my mentor, Grace Ofori, and she's so excited. Like, my husband was listening to, she did not know my husband was listening to the conversation. I was listening to the conversation and he was like, so, I said, yes, I love her energy. But, you know, when you walking towards something and God just creates some kind of favored alignment, so I'm looking forward to meeting many people tomorrow. And, of course, you know that our Easter sale is still ongoing. We're selling buy two, get one free up until the end of this month. Salary week we're entering. So if you want to invest, let's talk.
This is the good time. It's a good time to.
How are you doing?
I'm doing amazing. I'm grateful to God. I'm getting ready for my second batch of the group accountability coaching. So I decided to do this Facebook ads. The thing eats money. My money was just going in USD. Pion, pion, pion. $11, $25, $11. I'm like, what? But I'm good to go. Yeah, charges, because I had to pay for the Facebook ads, and I get a lot of inquiries.
Like that now. The whole of social media.
Yes, I was getting a lot of inquiries. People asking when is the training starting? Starting in May. You know, how long is it going to be? It's for a month. I'm going to be holding your hands for a month to help you break those limiting beliefs and break into financial success, so to speak. So when we take out those beliefs from the subconscious that has layered it and stopped you, then you are open to receiving from the universe.
But did you get what I said earlier?
Yeah. Now, if it was Nigeria,
what you said, adverts. She's paying for adverts.
For adverts, yeah.
So she was paying for
what I was
service.
thinking in my head is that they were
charges.
No. Paying for adverts.
She paid for adverts.
Sure
But you're looking very.
You think?
Yeah, we love
our tailor that did it.
It wasn't tailor. I picked it off the rack.
Ready to wear.
Ready to wear.
Oh, really
thank you. I mean, I wore it. This like a
since you bought it, don't mention it now. It's our people that we can.
Yeah, exactly. Mentioning name before we get upset with you.
So I'm told Mariam is in now, so let's go on a break. When we come back to join the conversation, stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
All right, thanks for staying with us. We're going to start with the nation. Welcome, Mariam. How you doing?
Fine, thank you.
Good to have you
here.
on the show.
And happy Eid Mubarak.
Yes, I know that the traffic stopped you, but it's okay.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Okay, Buhari axes Adamawa wreck. Orders security chiefs probe. Ahead subsidy removal, FG plans 6 months petrol stockpile. Lagos issues 5 billion naira bond certificates to retirees. Government to evacuate Nigerian students from Sudan. Bako Wakoma Okotete, 10 others in transition committee. Defense headquarters, May 29th inauguration of Tinubu's sacrosanct. President Tinubu, Governor Sultan call for peace at Eid al-Fitr. Okay, which story are we starting with in the nation?
Let me start with, as we all know, there's an ongoing war in Sudan. The Sudanese army and the Rapid Support Forces, are fighting each other. And many people have been killed so far. Many civilians have been caught in. And we have Nigerian students in Sudan. And our federal government is saying that through the chairman of the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, NIDCOM, Mrs. Abike Dabrerewa, has said that government is concerned about the fate of students in the war-ravaged country, and also explained that they're doing everything that they can, to make sure that we start preparing to evacuate them. She also said that NEMA is in touch with the Nigerian Commission in Sudan to see how that can, start off soon. But she's also advising Nigerians and students there to just keep calm and be security conscious while this is ongoing. I hear Japan and Uganda is already preparing to evacuate their citizens as well. So we're praying for them and hope they get home safe.
Safe, amen. So the outgoing federal government plans a 6 months petrol consumption reserve to mitigate the effect of the impending subsidy removal. We know that the subsidy removal is expected to take effect July 1, which is more than a month after the May 29th exit of this current president, President Muhammadu Buhari. The government also has earmarked 3 trillion for subsidy payments in 2023 budget between January and June. Now, some experts, including the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, have argued that removing the subsidy will bring down Nigeria's foreign debt and stimulate investment in the industry. But they are asking that the government cushions the effect for Nigerians, ordinary Nigerians who otherwise this will really affect. So the plans were announced by the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Petroleum Resources, Ambassador Gabriel Aduda, at the press briefing marking the end of the 6th Nigerian International Energy Summit in Abuja. According to him, the government will ensure a minimum of 6 months sufficiency stock of petrol prior to the final phasing out of the subsidy regime. And we know that the government had earlier removed the subsidy on diesel and kerosene, and most Nigerians are worried about it, saying that the subsidy removal on fuel would take the price really up, and most Nigerians may not be able to afford that. But there was, going down the line, there was also a conversation on how government needs to make it very transparent, how they want to cushion the effect for Nigerians, and how they are going to use the money realized from the subsidy removal to impact other aspects of the economy for everybody in total. We must try as much as possible to put everything on paper and make it clear so that we don't feel like there's something going on, that we are not aware of.
Okay, let me take the story on Adamawa. So if you recall, INEC has been trying to get the president to intervene on the issue that happened in Adamawa by either sacking or suspending the REC. So President Muhammadu Buhari himself has approved the immediate suspension from office of Barrister Yunusa Ari, resident Electoral Commission of Adamawa State. He says while that happens, they're going to continue and start investigations. So he has instructed the DSS to begin immediate investigation and prosecution if found liable of this error. If you recall, the Barrister Yunusa Ari had announced, wrongly announced Aisha Binani as the governor-elect of Adamawa State without total collation of the results, and he was not even the returning officer who is the one legally authorized to make that announcement. And since then, INEC has been calling for the prosecution of Mr. Yunusa Ari. But now presidency has intervened, and he's been suspended while investigation is ongoing.
The president and president-elect, as well as all the governors, are celebrating with the Muslim community Happy Eid al-Fitr, but they are also using this moment to call for peace within the country. They are, the Sultan as well calls for peace within the country, saying, over the past 30 days, there's been an observation for all Muslims, and that we're hoping that even after the fasting period is over, peace will continue to reign.
Okay, moving on to the Punch. Sudan conflict, we took that 1,262 Nigerian students demand evacuation and 330 residents killed. Moon sighted in Saudi Arabia, Muslims marked the Eid al-Fitr on Friday. Banana Island developer planned to rake in 22 billion naira in revenue. Ogun community 1 year blackout lingers over Ikeja Disco and Badon Disco disagreement. National Assembly inducts lawmakers elect by May 7th. Military will ensure peaceful handover, says Defense Headquarters. IOCs moved $21 billion investments to other countries, says federal government. And Buhari suspend Adamawa REC, orders security agents probe. Okay, which story are we starting with in?
The Defense Headquarters has assured Nigerians that there will be a peaceful transition of power by the President, Major General Muhammad Buhari, to the President-elect, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, on May 29th. The Armed Forces High Command said that the country was safe in spite of the insinuations by the United States of America. And then he also says that the military, he also says that, okay, this was in response to some alleged calls made by individuals for an interim national government and also threats by terror groups to halt the transition period. He says as far as internal security of the nation is concerned, The police are the lead agency, and we're only providing assistance to civil authority and civil power. He goes ahead to say that I equally assure you that the intelligence community are working round the clock, just as the armed forces are working to ensure there's peace and tranquility. So he's given us quite a lot of assurances that it will be peaceful. And as of right now, what they have on ground, giving intelligence, we have nothing to worry about security-wise, and they are on ground. He says that they're also aware of things that are about to happen, and they stop that in the process. And for those who even go as far as ahead to carry weapons from one point to the other, they have caught a few of those ones. They've been arrested. And he says that, you know, they're just on ground, and Nigerians have nothing to worry about, especially as the transition is, you know, is upon us.
Okay, let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue with our review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still reviewing Punch. You had a story?
Yes,
Go ahead.
so a disagreement between Ibadan Electricity Distribution Company and Ikeja Electricity Distribution Company has continued to cause a blackout for over 1 year in Ogijo community in Shagamu local government area of Ogun State. So the Ologijo of Ogijo, Oba Kazim Badamusi, alongside landlords and residents in the community, were seen to be lamenting the development, and they're appealing to the power firms to restore power in the community that they have been experiencing this blackout since February 2022. According to the story as well, said the situation has been making life difficult for the community, their businesses. A lot of them are spending so much to, you know, procure diesel and petrol, and most of them have relocated from that environment to another place so that they can do their businesses. Now, because of what has been happening, they asked the Ibadan Disco how they could solve the problem, and they said that they needed funds to be able to, you know, get power into that community. So they tried to speak to the residents, for each resident to contribute 5,000 naira per household, which took quite some time, but then they agreed to it and started contributing, and they were able to raise 50 million, which they had taken to the Ibadan Disco to tell them that they have the money, so they need them to come and restore power. And they also mentioned that the Ibadan Disco did not request for that money. They just felt that they needed to support so that they can get power. But they have started, they needed an approval from the TCN, and the Ibadan Disco has started working on it. But there was also another delay that started happening because they needed a particular, I'm trying to get the details here, they needed to get an approval for a transmission bay. It's called a transmission bay, and that belonged to the Ikeja Disco, and that's where they've been having the issue. But I think Ikeja Disco needs to understand that it's for the good of Nigerians, so to speak. Even if you're in charge, it's your area that they are encroaching into to get this approval, help them so that their people can be sorted. They've been without electricity for over 1 year now. We're all working together. It's one Nigeria.
Okay, well, let me just move on. National Assembly will be inducting the new members starting May 7th. According to them, they're going to do it in 2 batches. It's going to take, the first batch A will be from May 7th to 13th, and batch B will be from May 14th to 20th. It was just quite interesting to see that they need a full week of induction into the new roles they will be taking on as lawmakers. The objective is the induction inauguration is to expose members-elect to the functions of the National Assembly, its practices, procedures, as well as services available to them. I think it's really, to be excited for those new entrants into the National Assembly to just go through this process. And I'm really happy for them. I'm hoping.
Yeah, it costs a lot of money when we have new entrants.
Well, yes. I guess it does to induct them and all that, and they have to give them up new, they have to, because the old lawmakers sometimes live with some of these items.
Yeah.
You have to replace them.
Why?
There have been issues. They're not.
Those
I'm not
things
sure.
happen. And also the time lag of getting to understand the process of.
System.
I hear that
Yeah.
the cost of training is quite high.
You should be understudying already if you want to become
I have a
leader.
story
You
in
should have
Punch.
that
Let me
system.
take the international oil companies have, over the past 7 years, they've taken away $21 billion out of Nigeria and invested in other countries. One of the key reasons that has happened is because we did not have we refused to sign the PIA bill. So between 2014 to 2022, there's been a consistent reduction in the number of international oil companies bringing in capital expenditure funds into Nigeria. We also experienced a major decline into COVID because many people started defunding fossil fuel developments within our country. Specifically, 74% of our total annual upstream capital expenditure dropped. So in 2014, we're getting 27 billion in a year to less than 6 billion in 2020. Major drop. Another thing that we should note is that as at 2019, Nigeria had 17 active oil rigs. And these oil rigs, we were #1 in Africa that has active oil rigs. But this dropped to 11 in 2020, 9 in 2021, but it's picking up gradually. So the conversation is that based on the signing of the PIA bill, we are now having a bit more, but we've lost a whole lot. And
Okay, move on quickly now to Vanguard. Vanguard, Buhari, okay, suspension of Adamawa Rec. Took that story already. May 29th, handover, Tinubu unveils 14-man committee. Military battle ready for threats against May 29th handover. Idul Fitri, Buhari, Tinubu, Obi, NLC, others felicitate with Muslims call for unity. Judiciary creating crisis in Labour Party, says DG, LPPCC, and Oshuntokum. Fish farmers, CBN differ on access to Anchor Borers Fund. Okay. Which story taking?
I've got the May 29th handover. Tinubu unveils 14-man committee. So in order to ensure a seamless transition come May 29th, the president-elect has announced a 14-man presidential inauguration committee. And according to the report, it's comprising of eminent Nigerians to plan a week-long event that would usher him, that's the president-elect, and his VP-elect, Senator Kashim Shettima. There's so many names here. I'll just take maybe the first
Just 13,
two.
yeah.
We have with us, they said on the committee, there's the Deputy National Chairman North for APC, Senator Abubakar Kyari. He's the coordinator and director of finance and budget of the committee. Then the executive director, Nexim Bank, Stella Okotete, will serve as the head of Secretariat. There's also one which I find interesting, Mrs. Zainab Buba Marwa, wife of chairman of NDLEA. She would be coordinating the pre-inauguration dinner and gala night.
And Dr. Betty Edu is also going to be in charge of, I think, medical or something. But it's just, it was nice for her to be in that committee.
Good. So
it's quite a diverse group of people.
I have a story. So fish farmers are blaming their inability to access the Anchor Borrowers Fund, ABF, on their uncooperative attitude of commercial banks and the Central Bank of Nigeria. Speaking exclusively to Vanguard on the sidelines of the Norwegian Seafood Seminar in Lagos, the fish farmer said that despite meeting the requirement to access the fund, the banks have refused to meet their financial needs. One of them, the managing director of Fry J Consults, a Lagos-based fish farming company, Mrs. Jerry, said that after 3 years of the company perfecting all they required, all their documentations were ready, she has not yet been given the application for the loan. The application hasn't been approved yet. And it seems like the CBN is in connivance with the commercial banks not to give to them. So a lot of them spoke concerning this. They said that the bank cannot even tell them the reason their loan applications are not approved. They just keep going back and forth, and they've been waiting for some time. I know because of the nature of the business, they've gone to procure some of the equipment that they need for their fish farming, and yet the CBN does not respond to their request. And also, you know, some of them said that they know that the CBN focuses on where they get majority of their collateral. You need to come with, you know, something tangible where they make more money, but they need to understand that fish farming is different. And the government so far provided like some bodies to stand in as collateral, but CBN and the commercial commercial banks are not paying attention to them. CBN, on the other hand, said that, we have given money to some of these farmers, and it was difficult to get them to pay. We had to start setting up committee after committee to handle the matter. I think...
I want to take the Labour Party story. So the Director General of the Presidential campaign for the Labour Party, Chief Akin Oshutokun, spoke yesterday and said that the crisis rocking Labour Party was purely based on the judgment by Justice Hamza Mauzu. Said that the party was stable, everything was going well until some people took a case to him. And rather than the judge, who understands the situation, looking at the caliber of people that brought the case to him, should not have said that the statement by the judge, which, let me quote the statement, said the judge said that the Labour Party chairman and the ESCOs should stop parading themselves as national officers of the party, which is what they believe created the crisis, that the judge should have been more discreet in how he handled it, that the only issue had been that judge statement. If he didn't make that statement, there was no crisis in the party.
Okay, Nigerian Tribune, very quickly. Let's find a story of not taking. Buhari approved suspension of REC. Bandits have taken over 6,000 square kilometers of our land, says Sokapu. Rainstorm kills 6 sweeps boy away in Delta. Government killed 2 immigration officers, university lecturer in Taraba. Man kills himself with insecticide over family desertion in Bori. Naira redesign, we lost 50 billion naira to egg glut, says poultry farmers. FG concessions on nature port. And you are more responsible for Benue killings autumn blast presidency. Let me take the story of this man, Mr. Ogenovo. He killed himself because his wife and children deserted him. According to neighbors, his wife and children left him in January. And since then, he has been almost different from his usual self. According to the story, he said that his wife left him possibly because of his addiction to alcohol and constant battery. And when she left him, the co-tenant said that his wife could no longer condone the abuse, and she left. But as she left, she left with her eldest son just to be with the father. However, on this particular day, the man tried to call his eldest son several times. He didn't answer the man because he was busy in his shop. Just for him to get back home in the evening and realize that the man had drank insecticide and killed himself. According to the boy, he had tried to kill himself sometime back, a few weeks back, with hanging, but they couldn't get him help, and now so it's a mental health issue. And this is a situation where men especially must seek for help. You know, especially in men in this situation, many of them actually have
family interventions. We watch movies and families will gather and say, we need to help you because they might not be able to help themselves when they're
aware, alcoholic, and you already feel like the family hates you. You probably won't go to family, but you should be able to seek help professionally.
By himself. Now, wow.
Okay, we have to run. Is there any story that is well? Let's move on. I think that is all we can take on Front Page Review this morning. When we return, move on to our guest, the sponsored segment. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Celebrities, but nothing happening in the celebrity kingdom anyway. So there's an interesting conversation we heard about, and we thought was nice to discuss it on the show, to hear different perspectives. So we saw that many men and women in their late 30s, 40s, 50s, even in the 60s, are currently living without a life partner, relationship, or even a spouse. Some of them don't have wives, no husband, they've never been married, no children. And for some, it's deliberate, they're not interested. Others, they just didn't find the right partner. And then you look out in the society, realize that in some groups, women or men are able to marry once or twice, find love, or even be a second or third wife. And then when they do that, it might not be the perfect situation. But when they get married to maybe as a second wife, third wife, or maybe the second marriage, at some point, they feel a sense of fulfillment that at least I have been able to achieve, have 5 kids, 3 kids. I'm older now, and I feel like I have contributed my own quota to this world. Then, in some other groups, everybody's looking for that perfect spouse, perfect wife, perfect husband. And then they keep waiting and waiting and waiting. They hit 40, they hit 50, 60. And then when they get to 60, they start thinking, maybe if I had just been somebody's second husband, maybe I have been somebody's second wife, maybe if I had done that earlier in life, I wouldn't be in this situation where I feel like I haven't really accomplished because maybe I don't have children. Today, there are more decisions, there are more solutions of people buying, having, I think it's a child, they call it choice pregnancy or choice, there's a term they use now, where you can choose to have your own child, even if, you're not settled. But there are different options, but the conversation really is, should we begin to normalize multiple relationships, multiple marriages, multiple what are called polygamy, where we can understand and help others to find that their desire. As I said, it's not for everybody. Not everybody wants to settle down. Others are interested. Should we allow polygamy? Should it become an accepting culture across board? That's a conversation. You can join us on 081-270-53687, 091-390-7694. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read the tweets. This is our topic, eh? Whenever I talk about this polygamy thing, I always remember my mom. Whenever she and her sister are bantering, they always yabbing her, you only stayed with one husband. You just, that you were just allowing nonsense. Things happen. Men, husbands and wife fight. And they'll be having my mom that how can you just stay with Alawo? And I do Alawo, because it was the norm. Her sister, would have moved on. Once somebody do one small nonsense slap, next person, please. They don't wait to toil in their marriage. They move on, and many of them are like that. They had this.
I don't like.
So I'm just saying that's what happened.
Toiling.
So some people toil in their marriage. They feel that I must toil.
Suffering.
So what are your thoughts? How do we have a long-term solution to this kind of issues?
So, the example you gave is different, but back to the core story of mature singles being open to being second wives. I think that's like the right way to capture it. And I think that there's nothing wrong with a mature single choosing to be a second wife. Actually, age gives perspective. There are things that I can do now. There are conversations I can have now that I couldn't think about it. I couldn't even consider it when I was in my 20s. And I'm sure when I'm in my 50s, it will change. People say when I got to my 50s, I realized I'm not taking anything from anybody. As we get older, we gain more perspective. We realize what is important and what is not important. Many single women, as they are getting into their 50s, choose to have children because they realize, I can't keep waiting for this Mr. Right to show up. Aisha say they did it, and she was open about it. She documented her journey towards motherhood, that she really wants to be a mother and she wanted to do it in a family, but it didn't work. She couldn't get into a relationship and her time was going. And so she chose to have her child outside wedlock. When we get older, everything that we're saying we'll begin to see it differently. And I think that is allowed to allow people to do that. Now, it cannot be generalized. You cannot tell everybody that polygamy should become a norm, but there are quarters where polygamy is normal. There was a friend, my husband was saying, he met in Benin, that the man is a Christian and he has over 4 wives and they have their different houses in Benin. And they know, so there are people already doing it and they've accepted it as it's okay for them. Some people watching right now, probably in their 30s, will say, no, I can never, this is not acceptable. But in their 50s, they would gladly become second wife somewhere or marry a divorcee. Within Christendom, we're more open to marrying someone who's been divorced or something. If an older single person, we saw it with Kumuyi, Pastor Kumuyi of Deeper Life. His wife was a very, very matured single woman who's been waiting. And when somebody died, she stepped in. We see that more often, but we don't really accept the idea of you being in a polygamy.
Come to you, Mariam. What are your thoughts? Thank you for talking for capturing it.
Thank you. So for me, I would like to find out if the question is about single women alone. Are there single men in this group? 40s, 50s, who are, and are they willing to be second husbands to some women?
Well,
because I don't understand why every time we are asking polygamy, there is something called polyandry. If it's such a huge problem, are we saying that men too need to shock themselves with another family so that they can have, a relationship? And talking about polygamy and asking people when they are much older if they are open to being second wives, are we asking the one and only wife of the man if she's accepting this woman who has now finally come of age and is thinking, you know what, I sort of like your family and I would like to be a part of it. Are we going to now have that sort of conversation? For me, conversations like this are like, you know, it's just conversations.
Let me help you there, Maria.
Yes.
For a woman who has achieved, she's married her husband, they built a business together, her kids are grown, they've done their masters, they might be getting married very soon, and she's achieved, and she's also been an MD of a company, her husband, they're both accomplished. And then there's a young lady who her husband has become very fond of. And they're maybe friends, they go to this together. You can't really travel the world because, hey, you're focusing on the business here. And he loves her and they're good and they fell in love and he's in the US, whatever it is. Would you as a woman who is accomplished, you've seen everything you want in life, God has given you in abundance. All your husband is now asking for, I want an additional, maybe because you can't flip, you can't, whatever reason he has.
Not an
he now wants somebody else. So, and you as a woman, if you feel, oh, it's okay, it's fine. There's nothing you guys want to do that we've not been there, done that. Is it not okay at that time for you to say, please go ahead, you can have her?
Can I ask?
May I ask that, can I,
as a woman
who's traveling the world, my husband is accomplished, he's doing well, he likes to stay back because he's facing the business, but I'm young, I'm fly, I'm everything. Am I allowed to have a young man who is able to fly with me and hang with me? Because Olga is really hardworking and business-oriented and is at home. Is that acceptable?
Absolutely.
It's not acceptable.
You can't flip it now.
No, the thing is, it's not realistic, because it's not realistic on that side. I also feel that many times we have sat on this table and we have heard women who have cried, I gave him all my best years, and now in my older years, when I expect my companion and everything, he wants to be wearing saggy jeans and traveling the world with this young person. You know? So it is not, except if from the beginning, your relationship had always been open that way. Like, you know, we're open for whatever happens. But usually when things like that happen, when a man goes ahead and marries someone else, you find a betrayed woman at home.
Okay, but BC, what if the woman at home is not betrayed? She doesn't feel betrayed. She actually feels that I'm fine. Yes, we were lovers, but honestly, it's okay. There are some women that are absolutely fine. Yes, initially you might be, but you're actually fine with it. So if there are people that can be fine with it, why can't we therefore normalize it at some point?
So the thing is, we shouldn't be waiting for society to normalize things for us. We are the society. We normalize per head, according to what works for you. When we finished Most Beautiful Girl in Nigeria in 2005, one of our friends decided to marry this married guy. And he was strange to us. We're still young. No, don't do this. We tried to convince her. She said no. She has picked her hustle. The man has a house in so-and-so place, has a wife, they have 2 kids. The man gets her a house in another place, come visit her. So somehow, she moved abroad. It worked out. She married the guy. She moved abroad. You know, she's raising her kids there. The man comes to visit. Do you know she's still happily married? The last time I saw her, she was glowing, girl.
And so are you.
Yeah, of course, sweetie. I'm not talking about me. I'm just telling you that she was glowing. I was so happy for her that she found her peace and she found it on time. You know, what would have happened at that time was to say, no, you're so young. And she was young, brainy, beautiful. You're so young, you're so beautiful. Why do you want to go and end up as a second wife? Why do you? But she was strong-headed to pick what she wanted, and she stuck to it. The thing is, we want to pick the good sides, but we don't want the backlash of the bad sides. It can come anyway. I could have been married to somebody who was beating me today and be frowning and be feeling bad, but it worked out well for me. I'm sticking to the consequences. Anything can change tomorrow. I'm sticking to my choice and my consequences.
BC,
so instead of waiting...
Did you ask the girl how is the first wife glowing? The woman
I don't know. I didn't ask. The first wife is not my friend.
It's a valid question.
Exactly, but she's not my friend.
We need to know she's glowing.
This one that I know and I saw. And that opened my eyes to the fact that the Westerners came here and brought their culture, told us polygamy was evil. We should stick to monogamy. Today, they themselves that brought the monogamy have flipped from monogamy to all the numerous things that they are doing, and we see it, and then it's a far cry from being a human being and being moral. And we're asking ourselves, is this monogamy working? So you as an individual have to decide for yourself if this monogamy will work for you or not. I have friends, I have single friends, I have a lot of friends, because you know, in my business, you meet them, they become your friends, we hang out from time to time. There are some of them that I see that I am happy for. They are not married. They are not even depressed about it. They are living. They are taking up their career. They are doing their coaching. Anytime we see, and they are so at peace with themselves that I can bring them home to be my friends. They can stay with me. I'm not afraid of anything, because they have accepted that if it's going to come, it's going to come. But I'm not going to stop my life because this aspect of my life has not come. So, one of them even said, I'm not even interested in getting married recently. And I was like, Auntie, when did you change? He said, no, but I always told myself that this life, this freedom that I have, I don't want to lose it.
All right, so we're going to go on a break. When we come back, I want us to really dig further. Should the person whose husband is being taken by somebody else feel depressed or bitter? Because that's what Mariam keeps harping on, that. Are you sure? How does the first one feel? Must you be depressed about this? Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're still discussing this matter, and we're still going to, you know, draw it a bit out further. But there's a part you said, accepting reality. And I think that's where we are as a society. How do we accept where we are? I know lots of people are deciding by themselves, understanding and accepting that this is where I am. I would either preserve my egg and make a decision at the age of maybe 50 or 55, I begin to use, I get it matched and I have a child. Or says, you know what, I would rather just be a gigolo. You know, there's some guys, all sort of immoral acts. It's wrong, looking for a cougar to be with. You know, there are different things people decide, but it's seeing the reality of where you are and accepting. Now, my question is, should you accept that reality or trust that you can get it better?
No. I think we create our realities now. We all create our realities. Consciously and subconsciously, we all create our realities. So the person that is saying she wants to freeze her eggs or do something, she's creating her reality. Yeah. And I think that that decision is not a decision of maybe I will not get married. It's a health decision. Your best eggs are your eggs in your 20s. And if you have already entered 30s and you are not married, freeze your eggs. Freeze your, as in, when I say freeze your egg, I'm saying take it like any amount of money you have, just gather that money and go and freeze it, because we are going to be losing out on something very important. Even if you get married, the quality of eggs have dropped, and it's important to, we don't talk about it enough in Nigeria. So that's a decision. It's a conscious decision. And we must learn to, one of the things that BC established over and over again in the course of this conversation is that you must, don't live based on societal expectation. Create what will give you joy. Neduwoko's young, beautiful wife, as a young girl, chose to marry an older man. A decision that she's looking very happy to have made. And people are allowed to make such a decision. Another person can say that...
Let me pause you for a second.
I want to enter that.
Let's enter this. Let me take this call from Abosede. I'll come to you. Good morning, Abosede. Are you there?
She looks happy.
She has not told us she's not happy.
No. You're live. Go ahead, please.
All right. So I want to say something to this discussion. In fact, I like this discussion. You know, I want to tell you that age is really a factor. There are so many things that matter to us as young people. And by the time you grow older, it does not really matter again. Like me, growing up, I used to say, okay, I will marry somebody like this, somebody like this. But now it does not matter. To me, it's like, what matters to me is the way I'm being treated by a man. So there are times that you say, I can never marry somebody who was married or something. But as you grow older, you see that the things the value is not because we are morally, bankrupt or we are not morally balanced. I'm a Christian, but I believe that it's just a way of changing your mentality. It has a way of changing things that you used to believe or you don't believe. So sometimes people that, have issues getting married to a single guy, sometimes when they grow older, they find support in somebody that is married, and they are happier with it. You cannot judge them. You cannot criticize them.
Right.
You know, as long as they are, you know, they did it legitimately. They are not fighting. They are not hiding. They are not, you know, the man must bring the woman to the table and let the other woman see that, okay, this is my reality. There are so many.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. Yes, Mary was going to enter your conversation.
So I love this conversation of creating your reality, and many times we use some of the examples that when it works out positively for the person. But there are people who are creating a reality for themselves or believing a reality for themselves that when you're on the outside looking in, you're like, why are you not willing to make important compromises? I am well educated. I went to Harvard. I'm a doctor. I cannot be with this sort of person. This person does not tick all my boxes in this reality I've created for myself. And then you're saying, yes, this person may not be there yet, but has potential. But no, I have heard many times that I create my reality. So sometimes, I'm not saying that it's a wrong message. I'm just saying maybe we need to elaborate on this creating realities more, and talk about important compromises that human beings will make, whatever kind of relationship you're in, as parents to children, as spouses with each other, as partners, as a young girl or an older woman looking for a partner. Compromises happen. So what is this compromise? Creating reality also, when it's about, if I'm the young woman who has seen someone's husband and I want to be in a polygamous marriage, and I'll say, oh, I've created this reality. And this reality has affected this first wife who had created the reality for herself to be with this man that they will grow together and become, you know, so what are we saying?
So your reality shouldn't hurt somebody else.
Ideally,
ready,
these things happen.
So the thing is, life now per head.
Yeah, exactly.
Sit in your stool and decide for yourself how you want your life to go. Life now per head. Another thing is, there's a way I wanted to couch it. I can't remember right now, but the thing about creating your reality is you alone can decide what is important for you. We always make that mistake of thinking this is a general importance to everybody. If you are married, you should be able to do this for your children. You should be able to do this for your husband. You should be able to do this for the world. It's a general norm. It should be important to you. Why is it not important to you? Why are you making this? Are you not seeing this? But you're seeing it from your own lens. And this person is saying, this is the standard I want to stick with. She is seeing it from her own lens. So there's no general importance. There's no general, you must stick it from A, B, C, D to E. That's how you must go. Life goes in, there's always the black, the white, and the gray. The grays are now showing to be even more abundant than everything, because this is human behavior. People will always determine what works for them per time. As you grow older, as you get more mature, as you get more exposed, things will change. So what is very important for you at a certain age will move. But then people who do not understand, and this brings me to parents who would sit down and they wish their children got married. They've spent so much training them, sending them to school and all of that. Happy. And they get to a certain age where they're expecting to have grandchildren. And these people are saying, I don't want to get married. Mommy, leave me alone. I don't want to get married. And the woman goes back feeling very terrible that she has failed. You have not failed. She's a full-grown human being who will make her own choices per time. You did not give birth to her because you wanted grandchildren. If he wants to come, it will come. But if it doesn't come, do you now start hating your child or stop loving her or start feeling that you are a failure? No, hold on, no. Because what we see is women feel that they are failures if their children get to a certain age and they're not married. What if it's not in her path to get married? And that marriage will truncate her.
BBC.
Or him.
You see, this sounds really nice on paper.
Yeah.
I'm just
but
saying.
in reality, let's put it this way. You're a mother. All your life savings, you spent it to raise this girl, this beautiful girl.
Yeah.
And you hope that one day the kind of joy her father brings to you, you hope that she meets somebody.
What if she
sent her to Harvard? She's doing great things. She's grown the world. And then she's back home in Nigeria. She's got a fantastic job. And then you feel that, okay, it's time for you to settle down. But it's not because you're a failure. But she also have built a standard for herself. You know, she's not going to get marry somebody that in her home doesn't have a first degree or can't even articulate his words properly. You know, that she has a standard. But then we're not having a conversation that should we force our beautiful, educated, exposed young ladies to bring down their standards because we want them to be married.
But that is what happens today. So you see people sitting down to say, hey, I know he has not made money. I know he does not speak sopre. He has a Sikin and Sips accent. But please, please manage him. You are getting older. Your eggs are expiring, according to how explain. Go and freeze it, please. Just settle with him. Don't worry. We will touch him up. We will do this. And these young women get into these marriages, and after how many years, they break out because they did it in the first place to satisfy society, to satisfy their parents so that they are not a disappointment. And it really doesn't work out for them. What me, see, I have children.
Sometimes it works
out. Listen, sometimes it works out. But what me, I would advise, I am a mother today, and I would hope that my children find that love and get married. I want to have grandchildren, right? I hope that. But I'm not going to kill myself if it doesn't happen. What is going to be most important to me is that that child is happy. Good. Anytime I see my child, there's this light, there's this joy. That is the fulfilling thing for me. So however it comes, I'm going to accept it because I want the happiness of my child above all.
Good. I'm happy she said that. Let me say, I know of someone who her unhappiness is not because the child is not married. Her unhappiness is because the child is unhappy that she's not married.
That's a different thing.
No, but that's a lot of the unhappiness that mothers carry. I'm looking at her, she's not happy. I'm looking at her and I know she needs a companion. And I can never give her that. So when she's unhappy, it's not because, oh, she has ticked off. I'm not saying that does not happen, but the majority is that I'm looking at my child who is not feeling fulfilled because she's
not married. Then we go to the mountain.
After all, we have parents who have said to their children who are not married and said to them, have a child.
Yes.
Have a child. So it's not about the fact that they are insisting that she's married. It's that we want you to be happy. And many women, whether we like it or not, and I've seen it so many times, I used to think it was just, hearsay. But I've seen so many times, women really want companionship.
Yes. Let me pause you for a second. I mean, Bumi has been holding for a minute. Come on in, Bumi. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Sorry for keeping. Go ahead. Need the volume increased, please.
Yeah, morning, ladies.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. My comments are many and varied. First, I would like to talk about the issue BC picked up about creating realities.
Yeah.
I want to ask her, were my reality to be around her husband, what would be her reaction? Because I like the other thing Miriam was saying about being real about creating these realities. What if I found her husband and I said to her, and maybe she got news to know that so her husband wants to take another one because I have built my reality around her husband. I'm going to settle with him. He's married, but this is the person I love. What would be her reaction? Then secondly, I want to ask, what is the church or religion saying about all of this? So matured singles, 50s, 60s, they are not married. Is it biblical to go looking for creating realities around married men? Or we are not looking at the issue of religion and what our belief system says about all of this? Maybe our Muslim brothers and sisters may not have issues as to say they can have many, male alone, but how about the Christians? So what do we do? And again, for the information, whatever it is that it is worth, I'm unmarried and I'm well over 50. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bumi. So, Bumi, I'll let you respond to that other one, but let me go to the religion part. Interestingly, I was talking to one of my neighbors recently, and she was telling me that she had visited her family event, and then she saw a lot of her, she's a Muslim, a lot of her family members, her age mates, 40s, mid-40s, 50, and many of them were not married, but many of them were happily second wives and third wives. And she saw them, and they were happy, they were fulfilled, they were settled. The Muslims, yes, I said that they're Muslims. They had their children, they were there, and the confidence this situation sometimes gives from women, where you just see them, you feel like, this woman, everything is just going off very easily with them. But she herself is a Christian, so her family is Muslim. So she was now telling me that, Mariah, do you realize that there are Christian counterparts who I know in church, who are exactly this woman's age? They are depressed and they are down. And I'm thinking to myself that if it's like that, it's like Islam has almost helped these women. That even though you cannot find this your perfect rib, at least if you might meet somebody else, you feel a bit more fulfilled, because sometimes God has created us to give birth to give light to others. So she was now comparing. She was comparing and contrasting that in the Islamic religion has accommodated women like that. But how come in Christianity, our women in their 40s and 50s are forced to find this significant other that is their rib? When they cannot get the option of managing with somebody or finding love elsewhere.
So let me answer I think somebody else will answer your question. Let me answer the question of the caller. Creating reality does not mean your reality will be static. Everything moves. We are in the universe and everything vibrates at different frequencies and they move, they keep moving, they keep changing. So if I have used me as an example now, I've created my reality that I'm going to be in a marriage with a man who would love me, adore me, and cherish me. And somebody out there tomorrow decides to create a reality to come take my husband. And my husband chooses to follow the person to go. It doesn't mean that my life will suddenly truncate. I'm going to accept what is. If peradventure it didn't work out with me and him, I'm going to accept what is and change and recreate my reality. The idea is finding fulfillment per time, not doing it because society expects it to be. So another thing would be, let me just stick there. Let me stay there because I already have a name, Mrs. Ubo. Let me just stay there and suffer all the things. They bring the woman home. I'm not happy. I'm just there because so that they won't say that she fell out of her marriage. That's me not being real with my reality. But I can accept my reality and say, if it doesn't bother me, I can stay. If it bothers me, I can go. And I find fulfillment in other ways. That's what we're saying. So there's nothing static about creating. Creating reality is basically looking at the situation of your life and deciding to change it for the better. Using prayer, using affirmation, however it goes. Challenges will come. The only thing about life is, as human beings, we don't want to have these challenges. We just think, once you hear, she's talking universe, creating reality, once you start, it's going to be perfect. Of course, it's not going to be perfect. You will have challenges. Things will happen that you don't like, you didn't see coming, no matter how much you're prepared for it. But are you flexible enough to adjust to the current reality and then change it the way that it goes for you, according to your template? That's what I'm saying.
When you say creating reality, it doesn't mean that you are refusing what is on ground. It means that you don't see life as it's happening to me. You know, that this person made a decision and then it has truncated my own reality. No, you understand that things would happen and then I will take cognizance of what I've seen and create a future that I desire based on what is on ground. Life is not happening to you when you know you're a co-creator. You are a co-creator of your reality.
Accept it. Let's go on a break. When we come back, we continue with this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.
Oh my Lord, thanks for staying with us. A lot of arguments and vibration in the studio.
Vibrations.
Because this conversation, I didn't even think it was going to get this hot here. But anyway, let me bring it to another angle, and I'll come to you, Miriam, on this. You know, BC had said earlier somewhere that our traditional beliefs, the African way of doing things before the foreigners came. But you see, I shared a story recently also that my mentor was saying that when she just had a child, right, in the hospital, that other people in the hospital were saying to her, "Wow, your second is not here to assist you. You know, where's your second?" And she was like, "Which second?" She's like, because in their own mind, you should have a second wife or third wife that is helping you to, you know, there's got to be other second. Because that was many years. This man is in her 60s. So it was many years ago, they believed that you cannot be the only wife now. You're the only person. She said, no,
the wife of your younger one or the wife
of your older. Only you? Really? There's no other person?
Yeah, suffering.
Oh, because they're feeling bad for her that it's only her. So that was the African culture.
Yeah.
Now, if we also say African culture, back in the day, fathers used to, they were reluctant to educate the girl child.
Yeah.
Because they felt that really you're supposed to just go and get married.
Yeah.
You know, and we fought it. You have to educate the girl child. You know, but now, these girl children that we have all educated, they are now brave, they are now like leaders and, you know, makers. They're making their choices and now having that deep sense of, I am not fulfilled. I've not found that perfect person. Everybody around me is not really up to where I am. My question to you, have we made a mistake of this empowering of our women?
You're saying, has modernity failed us? Has westernization failed us? Has religion failed us? Has, you know, all the positives we thought we would gain, at what cost did we gain it? So I just think it's life. Everything you decide to do, whatever you decide to do, there will be benefits and then there will be fallouts. the first example of the woman who, you know, is the marriage thing, the way we've always had multiple wives when we, you know, traditionally. For many women, we talk about it all the time, many women, they were unhappy in that arrangement because the arrangement was solely about the man and the man's happiness. And the woman was supposed to be there to just provide the happiness for the man. And if she stopped providing that happiness for the man, he could just move on from her to someone else. And that marriage, that type of marriage was based on the fact that no one thought the woman had dreams, had aspirations, had wants, you know, or just even had anything for herself, that a woman was solely created to please the man. But women raise their voices and they're saying, you know what, I want to be a wife to a man that loves me. I want to be able to choose my mate. I want to be in a monogamous marriage. I want my husband to love me and adore me for me.
Isn't that foreign?
Wait, and it may be foreign. I'm not saying it's not. But like life, it keeps evolving. We're influenced by different things. Maybe when the slave trade came, it came with religion. Of course, you know, we're influenced by things. And some things we picked and we thought, this is good. After all, slavery has ended for a long time. Colonialism has ended a long time ago. And we're still holding on to some things. And we're still praying that our children will hold on to this new way of life because we have seen the benefits of it, especially to women. We talk about the justice system just the same. Where we're saying mob action, that's the way it used to be. We'll just drag the person to the market square, beat the person, kill the person. But now we have a justice system that sort of gives the benefit of the doubt and also protects the innocent who may otherwise have been killed in a situation where, you know, there's no proper justice system. We're saying that there are benefits to this.
Okay.
And education, monogamy could be it.
Have a call.
And okay, so these benefits, right, does not mean that it does not have, it's not hard or that you're not giving up something. But if you look at it over time, what women have had to sacrifice over time, the woman today and the woman in 1960 and the woman in 1940s, who would the woman in 1940s wish she was the woman in 1960s?
Now, let me find a way to come
right
into
now.
that, Mariam, because I was asking you, like, who defines what's unhappy? Because the truth is that the woman who has her entire life is just to have children and make this man, this her king. She was created to make this her king happy. She knows nothing else. I mean, Nima sat down here and said, listen, what gives her fulfillment is her children. All these other things that people are flying over the place, her own is she has raised amazing children. That's the only thing she finds fulfilling. So is it possible that westernization, we have sold our culture, who we are, because India will tell you that we were colonized, but we did not allow them to bring their culture.
Yeah.
We have our own identity of who we are, but we accepted their modernization. So could we have accepted the modernization without accepting their culture and way of life?
Good. And I'm just saying, in the world we evolve. So we have gotten to this point now where people are asking. So like the conversation of feminism today is people are saying, my own feminism is different from yours. Your feminism was about empowerment, about able to go to work and earn your money. My feminism is saying that I have a choice to be that woman that is out there making the money, doing the work, or being at home and being taken care of. That is where we are in modern times now. We're at a stage where we're looking at the way it used to be, the way it is now, and thinking, you know what, I would like to have something maybe just in the middle. I am now empowered, but also I'm willing to, you know, step back for something, and it is my right and my choice.
When it comes to you, do you think that feminism idea came because of this confusion? The fact that we went away from the original plan, you know, because we are constantly finding a solution, finding how to fix it. A problem starts, fix it, we are evolving. If we had just gone to the original plan, you know, you're supposed to be a kept babe, you know, being cared, maybe we wouldn't have been this one where we are constantly finding a solution.
And confused. We were not meant to stick with everything that we felt was the system was created. And it was created to suit the time. Yeah. So the confusion we are facing now is because we need to take the time to create a system that will work for us.
Why
now.
is it a confusion?
So the conversation the question you asked, Mariam, for me, is that even men are in that space. You know, once you become very accomplished, there's a confusion that happens when it comes to finding love after hitting a particular height of success. So the confusion is, do they love me or my money? Or does this person love me for who I am or what I have? It happens to both men and women, especially when you focus on career. Another part of that is the fact that you have gotten so much exposure. You have attained a particular level of enlightenment that it's very difficult to overlook some things. You look at it like, no, I can't take that.
Chicken and chips.
And that can also lead to another side of confusion. So it's important that we give people the opportunity to realize they are your mate. There are people that are your level. You just need to, your wealth, your connection, you went to Harvard, there are men that went to Harvard that can marry you. And it's your reality to choose that I want to marry at this level. Or you can say, I'm creating my reality. I will marry somebody that might not be at my level of enlightenment and I will upgrade the person. Don't let society, because most of the time we're making sure to society, how would they look at me when I now marry that kind of person? What will people say?
We hang out, you cannot speak English.
And they cannot speak English well. But if this person is going to support you and stand with you, then marry the person and whatever, level it up later, male or female.
So yeah, I wanted to go to the religion aspects, religion,
Yeah.
modernization,
And I said
westernization, blah, 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 blah. And I'm going to ask everybody to look around you. The people who brought the westernization to you, how are they handling the issues now? Are they not even more confused than you are? I strongly believe, it's my, this one that now as a child, you are naming your gender.
They are them.
Yeah, you are naming your gender. You are calling God different things. That they are confused. They are very confused people. Then that's on one side, you know. On the other side, I really do not think that people are that confused, right? I don't think that. I think we just want to have the benefits and not collect the consequences. We want to take the good sides of this, but we don't know that everything is comes in polarities. There's always the negative and positive all in one package. So every decision that you make per time, there's always the negatives following it. It's like, let me give this instance. You finish cooking this amazing fried rice and everything, and you cover it for 3 days without warming it or putting it in the refrigerator. So you come back, that same fried rice that you have made will bring out worms, and you're wondering, where did the worms come from? The worms did not come from the outside, they came from within. Because in that beautiful fried rice that you have, in it contains good and evil. And so because you made a decision to cover it, it's going to bring out the negative aspect. If you eat it, it will go into your body and give you the nutrients that you desire. Your decisions make it. So for me, I think people should just... so it's not like I want to bash religion, but I feel that it's really...
Let me take a related comment to this, because somebody said that, hi, Mariah, my auntie... delayed in marriage because she didn't want her, because the Bible said that you should not be unequally yoked with unbelievers. And she refused to marry her man. After a few years, the man still wanted to marry her, and she ended up being the second wife. So today she's happily married, and they have 3 children, and she's still happy, and she's a Christian. And
she's still a Christian?
She's a Christian, he's a Muslim, and she's the second wife. So now, it goes to that religious part, because that person now, her counterpart, maybe her friend, who were in church together, and would say you cannot be unequally yoked, which is the truth. That's what the Bible says. Many of us are Christians. But when you say
for me, I feel like unequally yoked.
Let's not analyze the Bible here. I don't want us to analyze the Bible here.
It's about your faith. But I like to use it for many things. I like to use it for your mindset and your mentality. I like to use it for your education and your exposure. I know sometimes it may come across as being vain of, but you would see that it's important. The way that religion works, where I see this happen a lot, Christian mother, Muslim father, is because our culture sort of also gives you a cushion. So even if the Christianity says you cannot marry someone of different faith, you can rely on culture and society that says, well, a man can marry more than one wife, and so you find safety in culture, that the principles of culture would sort of give you that protection, yes. But I understand what it means by being unequally yoked. And then, as you said, when people get older, they make different decisions. But I wanted to go back, right, to this conversation of changes and what we've been terming as confusion. I don't see it that way. I see it as growth. Whether we like it or not, if we move from point A to point B, you've gone into a new horizon. You will see things differently. You have the, what they call the advantage of hindsight, and then, a little bit of, where you're headed. and then you come up with conversations and questions and how to answer them. It is not confusion. That's the only way the world has grown and evolved. And I feel that women today have a lot to be grateful for those questions and those moves that women before us had to, make. Today we're seated at a table because some women refuse to just sit in a home and just be that only. Today we have our children going off to schools, our female children being in the same class as our sons because some women insisted. Right. So it is not a confusion. What society has done, because I know we like to bash society, and maybe now we're bashing Christianity and bashing religion, is that when you have like so many questions and things happening and people are confused where to go, where society or institutions have come in place is to say, okay, there's just too much questions right now, too much. We have put a law. Thou shalt not mob people, We have put a law. If you marry in court, it's one wife, one, because of all the confusions that come in. So society is not always the bad guy. Society and institutions step in where we are right now with so many questions. So concerning the issue of transgender and non-gender and they, them, is a conversation we have to have because of where we're coming from and what we have allowed and where we are today. And we are all having this conversation. And we will move from there.
Let me take a few comments on social media. We have to involve our viewers. Go ahead.
Culture.
Let me take two.
When we say we left culture, we were leaving culture because of westernization. And whenever you talk about this thing, we think about India because the Indian template is a template that has worked. Statistics in America shows that the Indian community have the lowest divorce rates of all. Yeah. And that's because they, despite being colonized or whatever form of colonization happens, they are the next. They held on to their culture. They arrange their marriages. You like it, you yap them, they cry, they do. They arrange them. Even if you fall in love, they will check if your families can match because they prioritize the unity of the families. And that has kept marriages. What's the result of that? They get to go to school. They are more successful. Look at all the top Fortune 500 company. Indians are at the top of that game. So we also need to go back and we need to, that's part of creating. As a country, we need to create what kind of, what's the template we want to use? Yes. Because it seems like we don't know which one we are doing.
Yes.
Any breeze that blow, we follow.
Yes,
but that's the luxury of being able to tell the story from the outside. Because this story that you have painted, we have seen. If you just try and enter social media, Indian social media, if you see the tears that they cry, because of this arrangement, then
we still cry now.
But
with our
I will not cry. Pick your own husband. You
that's
cry.
what I'm saying. Nothing is perfect.
Nothing is perfect. So, but they now pick the perfection you choose. Let's take a comment.
I have. Okay.
Oladidi says African culture is someone born you, so you must born someone. Or you both no care whether they have children or not.
Timilayi says changing reality unexpected is a very difficult task. No matter how strong you are, if someone else comes for your partner, you definitely feel it to the bones in your body. Except you're already waiting and expecting it. It's not easy at all.
Maria says reality is what is real within and outside. Faking it to be accepted by the public is not a definition of reality.
Okay. Akomeno says Christianity never says a man cannot marry a second wife. That's not God's law, but English common law. It says do not convert you, and then it says do not covert.
Fiona says, Auntie
your
Mariah,
neighbor's wife, not your neighbor's husband.
Fiona says, Auntie Mariah, even in church, some people still give birth for married men. It's a choice.
Oh.
So you see, one of the reasons why we wanted to have this conversation, a lot of these immoralities happen. Yeah. We all just pretend and look at the other way and say, oh, we're Christians, oh, we're Muslims, but we do these things. And it's important that we need to face the conversations and let us birth the reality we want. And what is normal? What is right? What are we trying to do? How do we preserve our society? How do we encourage men who are of marriageable age to get married on time? How do we encourage women who are of marriageable age to find love? That these are areas societies must help give women and men options to choose. Because sometimes, if it's so straitjacket as it is today, many people will still fall by the wayside. Yeah. But what we're saying is that how do we broaden the options where everybody at some point can find that fulfillment with the kind of fulfillment they choose to have? That's really what this conversation is about. Let's take a few more comments on social media.
Oluwambe Laye says, I want to disagree with the fact that some people are not destined for marriage. What we're having is people producing bad marriage. The person should work on his or herself and try to know why her or his marriage is failing.
Mount Rushmore says, there is life beyond this, our earthly life. Life may not be a bed of roses. In trying to be happy, you must be careful not to fall out of heavenly race. Mount Rushmore says, when you divorce your husband, are you ready to remain single for the rest of your life? To do otherwise is to engage in adultery, which will lead to hell fire. So you should think about it very well.
What do women want in a marriage? Is it just to be married, or is it that...
Okay, see, that's a fantastic question, because people are in marriages for different reasons. You see, unfortunately, many marriages didn't start with the right foundation.
Yeah.
Some entered it just because it was arranged. Some entered because society said we have to get married at this time. Some actually did fall in love. So those who are just entering it because somebody arranged it, they get to that fulfillment stage. You know what? I've accomplished everything they wanted me to accomplish. It's time for me to go. Hasta la vista, I gotta go. I gotta move on. I want to go live my life as a single woman, fulfilled. Let me not have to deal with anybody. So different strokes for different folks.
Some still getting arranged and then fall in love.
Yeah.
The idea back in the day is you're not supposed to, even back in scriptures, you're not supposed to know this person. We just arrange, you get there, you start falling, you grow into it. So the man provides that conducive environment for the woman, and the woman begins to fall in love and nurture and hold her household. So you know this idea of I must love first. We have looked at it. Is the loving first working for some people? It's not working for some people. Sometimes they've collected all the things you want to offer before you enter the house. When you now enter, in the next 6 months, 3 years, like I've known this woman for 100 years. For some people, you finish collecting all the things, you enter, and then they are still seeing new things that they are collecting. So everybody must find their peace.
Self-awareness is very important. We talk about it all the time, but it's not not everyone had the luxury of self-awareness before getting married. Some people did not know. And it is when they got married that their eyes opened. You know, so you might not know what you want.
Maybe be self-aware together.
Yes, and then you grow in that journey together. But Mariah, this topic has opened a lot of conversation for many people, and I really hope that people will be willing to don't listen to your view today and be pointing, I don't agree, I agree. It is decide for yourself which one. At this point in time, you're in your 50s and you're single, you can decide that, hey, am I really living based on my own perspective, or I'm living based on what society has expected me to do?
Am I the one driving my red car, or somebody's driving my life?
If what I really want is to have a child, you've listened to the show now, you can decide, I'll go and freeze my eggs and I'll take that decision. I'm not going to keep waiting for long, but have that conversation with yourself, a deep conversation to decide for your own self what you want to do.
Glory Ego says polygamy is African while monogamy is Western. Monogamy hasn't worked for them, while polygamy works for us Africans. Let's embrace our culture. It's the best.
That's a guy.
Even the Bible, somebody was like, even the Bible did not say that everybody should have one wife. People have that conversation, but we just...
My uncle, oh my goodness, he's like, he's
a template. You shared his testimony over and over again.
I'm sure he's watching because he never misses the show. Man, I went to go and see him recently because my other uncle had passed on. You know, the guy is lounging. I mean, I remember this guy. He was the roughest, you know, was the uncle that, why was this person? Why is all over the place? Jai guy. But now he has calmed down, he got, got multiple wives. One is like, wait, doesn't stress himself.
It works for him.
Whoever comes today, if you're happy, tomorrow you're not happy, they are servicing him properly.
And he's also servicing them.
And he's happy, and he's servicing them very well. So the man is happy. He's fulfilled. I'm thinking of all of us are doing, hey, one man.
You're also happy in your own space. So everybody finds
happy.
joy.
I'm just telling you that you can be happy in polygamy,
and you can be happy.
You can also be happy like
monogamy. You can be crying in monogamy.
Can we be happy in polyandry?
You can.
I don't know why they don't say that.
There are people
in the patriarchal society.
Yes,
they won't say
but
that.
You can also be crying in monogamy and be crying, and another person is also crying in polygamy.
So
going into polygamy does not guarantee happiness, and being monogamous does not guarantee happiness.
Monogamy guarantees more happiness than polygamy.
It guarantees
and that's how
more
I end
peace.
my own.
Yes, monogamy brings more peace. That's the reason many people find it more comfortable, because you are already facing enough battles one-on-one than to have a second wife putting in more words.
If you look at
other children,
that's it.
Well, I don't know. This conversation is
it's
wider.
peace.
Because you think of, okay, so if we have a whole lot of generation of young girls who are probably having to go online to freeze eggs and just finding a sperm to, we have lots of children
that are single.
Yes. So now we have that. We have that huge generation of men not being fathers. Children have been growing up without their fathers, and they're just, we now have a whole society. When that problem now comes, as you said, we have now evolved a new problem.
We don't have
and how we manage that problem.
But statistics from the US shows that in the next 10 years, the average 45-year-old woman will be single, unmarried, and
Oh, yes,
very high
I've seen
ranking.
that. They have
So
it.
That's where we're going.
They are seeing
where
the
we are.
numbers that more women, almost like half of women, would be at 45.
They said this is
single,
our
unmarried,
generation. We
yes.
have the largest number of women who are unmarried, adult women who are accomplished and unmarried.
Yeah.
Hey.
That's our
And
reality.
everybody just,
So, I
we
mean,
need to choose, oh.
So if
Choose
we're
well.
choosing that,
You can see
so
us,
very
we are
soon,
fulfilled and we are
in fact, we don't
married.
even need men in very soon.
we
next,
need to.
next 20, 30 years, we might not need men
Like
again.
this spam donor.
But we
Just be, I'll rather, because our children might get to the point whereby, listen, guys, I'm not even interested in dating. All this is it's too hard
So
to
hold
date.
on, yeah.
Let me go and buy, spend, and move on.
We need to decide
So what
as
will
a
happen
culture.
to
Wait,
the
so
men?
we need to decide as a culture what we want. We cannot
Yeah.
be allowing breeze to blow us. So there
Anyhow.
are
Decision.
cultures in Asian communities where you dare not marry outside what you will go to jail.
there's
That is the
templates.
way that they have preserved their culture.
It's also
preserved.
too
Wait,
restrictive
so
about
yes, so preserved their people.
This guy is a Jew.
Preserved their human beings.
Jewish
They preserve themselves. Their society is better for it.
Yes, we must have a standard.
decide. We cannot follow these Oyibo people. They are confused people.
Hey, you won't travel. You don't travel.
I
Don't
get
go
those
travel.
already.
all the
They
time.
can't
Don't get visa. Not trying. Yeah, I see they look for visa.
They
But make
can't
I not
take
talk right
it.
now.
Take your child
I
back now,
agree with
Ogo.
you in America. You're very correct.
Sweet, Abi.
I gotta go, guys. So I think that's all we can take on station. For a few comments, for one of,
No comment.
we have few
There are
seconds
plenty.
left.
Monogamy
Hurry.
doesn't guarantee peace when either party is toxic. That's from Lady Tem. Queen B says, check your reality and decide what will truly make you happy, not from societal perspective.
Amen.
That polyandry nonsense doesn't work in Nigeria. I don't understand why Marian keeps repeating
I don't
that.
understand. Let me help us ask
You
her.
have to know there is an option. When you keep saying
Yeah.
men can marry, men can marry.
one
What
One
is
question.
that?
says, Abi, some of of you ladies' hobbies are thinking of getting second wife. I don't know.
We're discussing it,
When we
okay.
get home, we'll ask them. Corey says, because this life is very short, too. You close eye, open eye, 50 don't reach, just now. I go shock you. Andrew says, the rate of infidelity amongst Indian women is astronomical. That's another aspect of it. Yeah.
Okay, well,
those.
we have to run up. So I think that's all we can take on today's show. But really, as I said, it's all about you. You decide what you want. But the truth is that society must decide as a nation how we're going to help every member of society to find fulfillment in different ways. So abroad, they create platforms. You can do this. They give you options, co-parenting. Different scenarios are painted. But here, we need to formalize some of these structures so that everybody can find fulfillment at some point. That's all. And happy Eid al-Fitr.
Yes,
To our
so
Muslim brothers and sisters.
Day.
This is not the one we eat rice.
Hi,
on. We eat
Nima.
Ram.
Yeah, salah.
We're not eating ram.
But we still go and visit
This
one.
is the one we
we
fasted.
celebrate with Nima.
Have a fabulous. Also, I've greeted all the Fuja family members.
Yeah.
Love you
Nima
guys.
Akashat Zibiri.
Nima,
Happy, enjoy, happy festivities. God bless you. See you guys on Monday. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.